leadership today. And I'd like to thank my honourable friend from Bexley Heath and Crayford for securing this debate. And thank you also for all the work that has been done for championing the rights of disabled people. You are tireless in what you do. Saying you. I would also like to put on record that changing places toilets were first introduced in Nottingham, the place of my constituency of Broxtowe, and I am proud that Nottinghamshire carries that legacy and innovation. Now, in previous roles, I have been a champion for disabled people, and many people have spoken to me about the need for changing places toilets, because many people with profound and multiple and severe disabilities and neurological conditions have complex needs, and a standard accessible toilet just is insufficient, as many require a changing place facility that's equipped with a hoist, an adult-sized changing bench, and adequate space for carers to provide sufficient support safely and with dignity. Without these facilities, everyday activities that many of us take for granted just become impossible. A family day out, a trip to the high street, visiting a museum, going shopping and meeting friends. These are things that many of us take for granted. These ordinary experiences are denied to too many people because they do not feel confident that their needs will be met once they leave their home. According to the ONS, there are 10,000 disabled people in my constituency of Broxtowe that require a changing place facility. But there are only 2 changing places facilities in Broxtowe, meaning people in Eastwood, Alresford, Stapleford and Beeston do not have access to suitable facilities, and only one of those facilities is modern enough and is regularly open. Disability rights charities and organisations across the country talk about disabled people and their carers restricting their journeys or avoiding going out altogether because they cannot find suitable toilet facilities or cannot be certain that facilities will be open and accessible. Isolation, loneliness and poor mental health are often attributed to low social interaction that can lead to anxiety and depression. This is what facilities like this being missing can happen to disabled people. Parents of disabled children frequently report to me avoiding going out on outings altogether, not because they want their children to be excluded, but because they cannot be certain that they will find a changing facility, and as a result, people become isolated from their communities and excluded from socialising. No child should be excluded from public spaces because there's nowhere suitable for them to change when it's necessary. No parent should have to choose between taking their child out and preserving their dignity. And no adult should be prevented from participating in social activities because the basic infrastructure they require is absent. The last government rightly addressed some of this by making changes to building regulations that will increase the provision of changing places in new, large, non-dwelling buildings. And this is a welcome step and will improve access over the long term. However, disabled people cannot wait for a future development to solve today's problems. Capital funding is needed now. The reality is that there are still large gaps in provisions across the country, particularly in our transport corridors, town centres, tourist destinations, and particularly in rural communities. I urge the government to look at how changing places provision can be embedded with current and future urban planning and within the government's high street strategy, with capital funding attributed to it. Accessible toilet facilities should form part of any strategy to create genuinely accessible high streets, ensuring that disabled people can confidently visit their towns, their cities and public attractions without fear of being left without appropriate facilities. Capital investment in changing places toilets is not simply an investment in buildings or facilities themselves. It is an investment in an inclusive society where disabled people can enjoy the same opportunities, freedoms and quality of life as anyone else.
Jim Shannon.